Hey everybody, today we're going to be making homemade chocolate sauce, and that's the sauce that you use like in the Hershey bottles for your coffees. That's what I use in my coffees all the time, and frankly it's expensive, anywhere from $9 to $12 for the bigger bottle, so I'm going to make it myself. There's no preservatives, no extra stuff in it, and this stuff I just store in my fridge. So I have 2 cups of water. The recipe I'm calling for calls for a ½ cup, so I'm doing this times 4. I'll attach the recipe in the thing. So we mix in the 2 cups of water. We're going to have a lot of sugar in this. You could probably try this with the sugar substitutes, but I'm just doing regular sugar right now. So it's 1 cup for every serving, and I'm doing 4. 2, 3, 4 cups of sugar. It's my handy dandy whisk. Hang on. You were supposed to add the sugar and the cocoa together first and mix it so there's no lumps. I didn't do that, so I'm gonna have to like be in here and continuously stir so I can get the lumps out as it warms up. So that was 2 cups of cocoa powder. And I'm going to need probably about 4 capfuls of my vanilla. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I said 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So it's good enough to me. And so what I'm doing now, I'm going to turn this up to high. And I'm going to just start stirring this around. So hang on. Now if I'd been smart, I would have mixed the sugar and the cocoa together. But this is kind of what it looks like now. I've got the water in there. And I'm just going to get in here with my whisk and whisk it around until all the clumps and bumps are gone. So hang on. Okay, and we're going to continuously stir this until all the lumps are gone, until it becomes a rolling boil. And you only want it to rolling boil for about 30 seconds to a minute. And I have this on high right now. It said medium to medium high, so I'm turning this down to medium high. And what happens is, after you get it to the rolling boil, and you take it off the heat and you let it sit for a minute and you stir it, then you pour it into a glass jar. Now, the reason you don't let it boil longer than a minute max is because then you start getting into candy making stage and the stuff gets super thick and it can get hard and it won't pour out of the jar. So, and this is something you can make ice cream topping, chocolate ice cream topping this way. It's super easy. It's probably going to take us about 10 minutes max to make. And so let me get this to a rolling boil, then we'll go from there. Okay, here it is. It went to a rolling boil, then I turned it down on low for about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to turn it off, and then we're going to let it cool, because obviously I do not want to pour it into that jar hot because it'll bust the jar. So we're going to let this cool, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so here we go. I let it sit for about 20 minutes. We're going to pour it into here. So hopefully I won't make a big mess. So hang on, let me push this back a little bit here, hang on. So I've got this gadget here, I've never used it before. It's supposed to help you pour your stuff from a pan, creating a spout from the spillage. So let's test this puppy out and see if it works. So you just put it on the rim like I just did. Hopefully it won't drip underneath of it. So let's see how this works. Oh, you gotta go slow. I mean, in essence, it works as long as you don't go too fast over the top of it. So now I'm pouring all this in here. I'm gonna have to clean up this little bit of a mess. I have just a tiny bit left. So I'll get a smaller jar for that. Hang on just a second. All right, I had to dig around. I'm just going to use this because I don't have a ton of it left. Again, we're going to pour the rest of this in here. So I got about 32 ounces plus, this is probably about 12 ounces out of this recipe. And let's take a quick taste. Tastes just like Hershey syrup. Now, like, why wouldn't it? Because it's chocolate, right? That's what my husband says. Now, this seems very liquidy, and I will say, when this cools down and goes in the refrigerator, it becomes more thicker, becomes thicker, more like the fudge sauce. But this syrup is for my coffee, so even if it's this, you know, this way or a little bit thicker, that's fine for me. So then we take this off, and I have this really cool, you can either, you just put a lid on the top of your jar, scoop it out that way, but I found this really cool thing on Amazon, and what it does, it just goes onto your mason jar. Oh no, I have the wrong size mason jar. Hang on. It fits a wide mouth mason jar. That was not a wide mouth. This is a wide mouth. And I just turn it on there, twist it on, and then I have a pouring spout. Now this thing also came with like a little lid with the little holes in it, like a spring, you know, so you can put spices and stuff like that on. I have that set aside because I've used that for spices and stuff before, but now my syrup is done. Got my little extra syrup here, and I just will store this in the fridge, and this will last me probably about 2.5, 3 weeks, I think, and I just put a little bit in my coffee every morning. So anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. I'll put the recipe in the information.